they admit highest suicide rates in leftists, highest mental illness, highest drug level, highest crime level, highest disease level. Because these folks are one step away from the giant zombie hordes that are now all over the Western world of people that don't and won't work, who just sit around mainlining heroin. It's so cheap, like $3 a dose, and smoking crack and laying around in their own feces because we all bow down to it and don't demand and expect more. It's called decadence. It's called what happens before civilizations collapse. 9 out of 10 people that are apprehended never show up to the hearings. And remember, 1/3 of the children, they've been genetically tested, are not from the family. They've been grabbed. Okay, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to cover today. And then there's more stuff breaking so fast I can't even track it as it unfolds. We have a bunch of clips of the Africa invasion going on that have not been on air yet, but they're linked in articles on Infowars.com, Newswars.com, and right at the top of DrudgeReport.com. 2 of our articles are linked there. It's incredible footage. I'll describe it for radio listeners. But our cameraman got assaulted for daring to be across the street, politely videotaping. And here come the people from a foreign country with the city employees to attack Greg Reese and start pushing him off the street and elbowing him. Owen Schroyer went in the city facility where all the rest of the media's gone. They came in, started pushing on him, rammed him out. And these are just the, quote, volunteers putting their hands on people because they are, again, helping collapse the border. We should pull up some footage from Hollywood movies that reenact the fall of a city, the fall of a wall, when a horde pours in. That's all coming up. But you have to understand, we didn't just sit there and wait around and then a few buses would come in. Every hour or so, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 buses would pull in, and more Africans would get on or get off. So it's been thousands at that one facility. And I told you, the Border Patrol told me 2 days ago, they said, Alex, it's been over 1,000 in the last few weeks. But the numbers are always a few weeks behind that they officially put out. That's why it's on DrudgeReport.com today that ICE has come out and said that 1,000 have come in and 500 at one checkpoint alone from Africa. So exactly what they told me 2 days ago, what I told you on air, is now in the newspapers. And they only reached out to me because Fox News wouldn't cover this, and they knew that Drudge was picking it up. So again, that's why they want us off air. Because how many times is an InfoWars that breaks the story, that Drudge then amplifies, that then it forces mainstream media to cover? We got attacked 2 weeks ago, and they said it's Jones saying that Biden can't talk and is too old. It's not just me saying that. They were saying that about him years ago. He can barely talk. Look at him. And now it's on the news today that now the Republicans are saying it, and they got it from conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. No, they got it from their own eyeballs. But what Drudge is able to do, being the largest news site in the world, is make them look at things that are really happening. You remember just 3, 4 months ago, Jon Stewart and everybody else were still saying, because that's where we get our news from, I guess, that there is no migrant crisis and Trump made it up. You don't hear people saying that anymore, do you? Now you hear them saying it's Trump's fault, unless it's Bernie Sanders who's got his propaganda a little bit behind the times. By the way, take Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart's not one of the nastiest of the fake newsmen, comedians that pose as newsmen, but he comes from a very powerful family. His brother runs the New York Stock Exchange. He knows all about inside baseball in New York. And I see the folks at his press conferences who I originally, 3 of those guys you see up there testifying were first on this show 18 years ago. They were all the deadly dust. That was a cover-up. We had scientists on that had tested it. I had toxicologists. I had physicists. We paid to have people go get the dust out of some of the facilities and houses and test it to prove it. Not just the thermite that was in there, but also the toxins that the government said was a lie. You can pull up articles saying I'm a conspiracy theorist from 2002 that the dust is not poisonous. That's not next year's news today, folks. That's 19 years later, 18 years later. And so, hey, great, Jon Stewart, you're the big angel now, huh? Oh, now you're going to get them their money when most of them are already dead. All I'm saying is, buddy, is this is a great way for you to look like the hero. But were you there, Jon Stewart, 18 years ago like I was, giving speeches at those churches, having my listeners come and not touch the money and giving 100% to the firemen, the police, and their families like I did? And I'm not bragging. I'm just sick and tired of the establishment talking about how good they are, all the great things they've done, when what they do is they show up later and they take credit for what other people have done. I was physically attacked, the video's somewhere, physically attacked in New York repeatedly at Ground Zero for saying they covered up deadly dust. And it goes on and on and on. We had C-SPAN specials on the dust. We had C-SPAN specials on 9/11 and how there was a stand down. All of it turned out to be true. That's why InfoWars is important, because we'll tell you about the collapsed border. We'll show you the people from Ebola-infested Congo, which, by the way, now has jumped into other countries for the first time ever. It's made it out of the Congo. Associated Press. Why do you think it's making it out of the Congo? Because they've put in airfields there, and the people that have money are fleeing, and they're coming here. And the Border Patrol came out and told you the same thing they told me 2 days ago. They're in the Associated Press today saying no one is being screened for Ebola. It's all up on drudgereport.com. The whole menu of what's happening. U.S. cities overwhelmed with illegals from Ebola countries, not being screened, quarantined. California, desert towns sees migrant surge as crisis worsens. Nonstop dumping, new phenomenon. Crawling out of manholes in El Paso. Trump, Mexico doing great job at border, really helping us. Private wall group ordered to keep gate open for illegals. Watch 1,000 pour in. Naked intruder on immigration hold after threatening Dallas couple. And of course, 9 out of 10 people that are apprehended never show up to the hearings. And remember, 1/3 of the children, they've been genetically tested, are not from the family. They've been grabbed. And when they question the children, they say, no, I was grabbed. A lot of them were grabbed out of backyards and off the road in Mexico, because they're the Get Into America free card. If you got a kid with you, they don't check your name, nothing. You're just sent to a Democrat facility, taxpayers load you on a bus, and you're shipped to hell knows where. Migrants paid $130 to rent boy to cross the border. Yep. Again, as I'm talking, they're search engineering. And oh, remember the media said last year, oh, there's no caravans. There's 100 people in them. One caravan alone was at least 15,000 people. Local law enforcement estimated 15,000 people tearing down gates, storming in. But Jon Stewart says we're making it all up. You know, if you're to believe Trump, they're coming in from here, they're coming in from there. It's dangerous. Well, of course it is. But you're there to manage this, aren't you? With nice little PR pieces. When you're 1,000 days late and $1 trillion short, Stewart, you're just covering your ass.
I'm watching the midterms. then you would think our country is Mad Max Thunderdome. This guy is like, they're coming from Guatemala, they're coming from Mexico. There's a liberal mob that's coming.
Hey, you voted Trump! You voted Trump! Oh, we
Supporting the president. You ain't supporting
Muslims. And you would think everybody in the country is just like, to the bunker.
Remember, the only way InfoWars reaches new people in this critical fight for hearts and minds is you. Whether you're listening on local radio or TV stations, whether you're watching over the internet, live or later in some underground tape or on some thumb drive, this information's evergreen because we're covering the facts. And that's why the establishment spends so much time trying to discredit us and lie about us and shut us down, because we've got their number and we're winning thanks to you. We're in this together. Let me do this. Every day I come in and it gets harder to do the show because 5 years ago, if I had one story like I have 100 of, I would be excited and would have trouble containing myself. It's now so cuckoo, so out of control. Without looking for it, I have a stack of news with major government figures, major think tanks, major organizations saying it doesn't hurt children for adults to have sex with them. Which, of course, we all know is a lie. And let's legalize child porn. So that means the exploitation of children. I mean, this is just evil coming right up out of the pit of hell, folks. Okay? And then you can't turn on television or read a menu of shows without looking at shows about young people, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to 16-year-olds having sex. And it's all just conditioning everyone. It's pure evil. HBO's explicit euphoria courts controversy. How much teen sex and drugs is too much? British think tank proposes not prosecuting pedophiles for viewing child pornography. Quote, we can't prove sex with children doesn't harm them, says labor-linked NCCL. It's a major lobbying group. Remember Tom DeLay back in 2015? He warned the Justice Department wants to legalize 12 perversions. He got the document. Turns out it's accurate. Remember Hillary Clinton? NBC News, Hillary Clinton covered up pedophile ring at State Department. I mean, the UN got caught kidnapping thousands of children in Haiti alone. Many of them died. Large portions of the children being brought into the U.S. aren't with their parents or any of their real kin. Many of them are being child trafficked. The Senate admits that. And you go out to any of these Democrat events, you can see our videos, Millie Weaver and Caitlin Bennett and others, Owen Schroyer on the street. And you go out there, and what do you see? You see people wearing shirts saying, no borders, no wall, no USA at all. There's one right there. Nobody is illegal. And these men march over to Caitlin Bennett at a Buttigieg event and physically attack her and hit her and slap her and elbow her and the two men she's with, her fiance and her camera guy. And then while they're attacking them, they're saying, you're attacking me. I had people in a restaurant say, F you and your family, Saturday. And then I said, screw you back. And they went, how dare you, shame on you, yell at us. And they all smiled at each other. I'm like, what, because you can murder logic? Because you're a mental patient? They're all the same. They attack, throw a water bottle in your face, slap a woman's breast. Until a homeless man, a black homeless man, came over and stopped him and said, walk it off, walk it off. One white teenager, looks like he's a Day of the Dead zombie, his pot-bellied friend, a couple of good buddies, and the black dude stopping him. Unbelievable. You know, that's what this country has come to. You know, and here's the thing. I'm shying away from our top story. In fact, I had it printed. Will you guys print me the Putin story? Like, I can't find it in my stack. And then I actually want to post that whole RT story on Infowars.com in the live show feed page. I forgot to tell Ben or one of the other great writers that Putin came out and said that the end of the world could come very, very soon. So a guy that has 10,000 nuclear weapons warned that the end of the world could be here soon and issued a dire warning. The headline on Infowars.com with the live feed, where I'm going to add the article, we're going to play the video next segment, maximum alert, Putin issues dire warning. Plus, U.S. border completely collapses. And that is what's happened. And Mexico has gone in just 1 month from helping organize the collapse of the border, letting people transit through Mexico for paying thousands of dollars apiece. It comes directly from Soros and taxpayer money through the UN, State Department, to now putting the National Guard down there and deporting people and charging a whole bunch of the smugglers. Well, you should have been charging them to begin with, because you know what the Mexicans are finding out about? People are grabbing their kids. And almost none of these people are Mexican. And Mexicans, if they're anything, are territorial and pro-family. And they understand when people are walking all over them. So their little socialist president has had a major Mexican backlash to Central and South America and Africa and Asia, using it as a doormat, with the cartels, Senate reports show, making over $2 billion in the last year. It was $1 billion and something the year before. In fact, there's a Lindsey Graham video report on that we're going to get to. But we also have Limbaugh with a fantastic idea. And I've said this, I'm sorry, I've said this for 2 years, that President Trump should campaign more in California, that he should go tour Skid Row, that he should go tour these tent cities like I and others have done. In fact, when we went there, we said Trump needs to do this. And Limbaugh says absolutely. He needs to tour Seattle. He needs to tour Portland. He needs to tour all of these places and go there with a phalanx of police around him and let the world see what I and others have seen. Because let me tell you, you think you've seen something on the news. They're not showing you anything. I've never imagined anything like this. Imagine concentration camp victim style people covered in semen and flies and trash and stench, the smell-o-vision, and the piles of feces stretching as far as the eye can see. So Trump's actually fighting for the very survival of this country's existence. Back about 15 years ago, when Lou Dobbs was #1 on CNN for about 5 years, #1 actually anywhere on cable, had upwards of 7 million viewers a night, he would have documents on the show routinely. And they had the Trans-Pacific Partnership precursor documents. They had the North American Union documents. It was big news. And in there, they said, we're going to bring in the one world government and break the country into 3 mega regions with 10 sub-regions. Where have I heard of that before? 2,000 years ago. Exactly as prophecy says. And we're going to get rid of nations by having crises so big only world government can handle it. And we're going to have a North American security perimeter that is going to be formed by collapsing third world populations and migration. That's number 1. Number 2, infectious disease outbreaks that cross borders. And number 3, economic issues. Economic collapse. So you've got the threat of crime and the threat of giant masses pouring across. You've got the threat of disease. And you've got economic threat. And the UN admits they're going to bring in world government because the UN controls all these third world countries. There's only a few they don't control, and they're always busy overthrowing them. They're the corporate world government. And they overthrow your country, and they'll put an even worse dictator in. And then they set up the airfields and the funding. But because Trump controls ICE and they won't automatically just let you in, they fly you to Guatemala. And then you're given money, and you come up here, and they're opening up the corridors. And even local San Antonio news said, it's wonderful, the new Congo culture. And this family from the Congo, they just got here a year ago. They're going to make meals for everyone from the Congo so they feel good. And we're going to rough up the InfoWars reporter, too. You know, we're not going to let them videotape us out here because we the bosses. Now, no other countries let you do this. And these people are brought into refugee centers for a few months. This is on record. Before they're brought here, and they're brainwashed to hate America and to be told that everyone that doesn't want them here is a racist and bad. Just like when kids go to college, they tell them, hey, the KKK's on campus. This is a formula. You better come to this particular dorm area. We're going to make sure you're safe. And then they enroll you, always the most needy, autistic style, Asperger's spectrum type people. This is all admitted. They go and they get the fluoride damage, the vaccine damage, the scared, the nerdly, and then they indoctrinate them into their cult. That's why you go to a leftist parade or a leftist event. I don't care if it's a gay pride rally. I don't care if it's just a leftist rally for Joe Biden. The people look mentally retarded. They look completely lost. They can hardly talk. They're drugged out of their minds. And what is in the news? They admit highest suicide rates in leftist, highest mental illness, highest drug level, highest crime level, highest disease level. Because these folks are one step away from the giant zombie hordes that are now all over the Western world of people that don't and won't work, who just sit around mainlining heroin. It's so cheap, like $3 a dose, and smoking crack and laying around in their own feces because we all bow down to it and don't demand and expect more. It's called decadence. It's called what happens before civilizations collapse. And when you go to the gay pride parade, like our reporters have been doing, people come up and they say, F straights, you've never been abused. You've never known what it's like to be us poor victims. And people aren't even hating on these folks because of what they're doing with their dingalings. It's because of all the anti-gun, anti-family rhetoric and the trying to recruit children and the trying to take over the educational system and the demanding crosses be taken down. And I've got stacks of articles here where lesbians particularly are cutting the genitals off at alarming rates of little boys they adopt and then stabbing them to death. That's up on Infowars.com and Newswars.com today. Natural News did an excellent article on it. I dare you to go read it and the crime statistics. Now, is that saying every woman that likes women is cutting little boys' penises off? No, ladies and gentlemen, it's a fact statistically that you've got more family violence, more suicide, more abuse. How abusive is it, these families that tell their 3-year-old son you're really a girl or tell their little girl you're really a boy and push that on? That's the greatest form of abuse, being done as if, oh, our kid will be part of the cool club. Because that's really what this is like a street game. And in some of these videos we're going to play today, they tell Millie Weaver at the gay pride parades where it's rainbows and the word gay and everything's happy. Kind of like the light on the end of a anglerfish's head, you know, getting the minnows to swim up. But what's at the bottom of that isn't too pretty. Leftist indoctrination, collapse of society. And it's not just the, quote, gays. It's corruption of every type, decadence of every type, heterosexual decadence, you name it. It's all just decadence. And the hatred of people that are trying to hold it all together. That's what this is. And they say over and over again in the videos, this is our religion. And that's really what it is. You see, we got rid of Christianity. And we got rid of all of the old norms. And there were probably some problems in those old norms. But it's been the West that's been the most open. But we've traded out some of the extreme conservatism of the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s for new forms of bondage, new forms of oppression. And no one can deny it. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. And why do you think people used to try to outlaw all this type of decadent stuff? Or why do people look down on women having children outside wedlock? And why do people look down on when men start having sex with each other and then start acting like women and then start flaunting it? People figured out every time you do that, society collapses. That's why the Chinese have outlawed it for 4,000 years. That's why the Japanese have outlawed it. That's why every culture outlawed it, because as soon as the Greeks started doing it, collapse. As soon as the Romans start doing it, collapse. We've been down this road before. The Romans, when they were coming up in the Stoic period, before the Golden Age, would execute you for adultery. It was seen as the same as two men having sex. Hey, buddy, men and women are the species. Whether you call yourself gay, straight, whatever it is, I'm a libertarian and don't hate you for who you are. My God. The point is you can study this scientifically and know that when we go down this path historically, the bottom always drops out and society collapses. And next, they always come for the kids, and now they are. Read the Old Testament. And armies would come in and say, we're here to have sex with your kids. Armies of men dressed up like women. It's in the Bible. It's in historical reports. When men start dressing up like women, buddy, they're coming for you know what. Now, can you figure out why? Whatever. It happens everywhere. It goes in cycles. And did you know the head of the Amber Alert system nationally was convicted for child smuggling? Bet you didn't know that. We're going to cover that next hour. I said I'd get to the Putin thing, and I will, but it's so huge that I'm going to save it till the start of the second segment next hour. Threatening nuclear war, threatening the world could end, just unprecedented any way you slice it. One of the biggest things we've ever reported on, that's next hour. Please, whatever you do, realize the way we get past the censors is you spreading the word, you emailing the links, you spreading the articles on your email, however, word of mouth, text messages, whatever you do, we're raising the alarm. And the only way folks are going to see all this dramatic footage and see all the incredible things that are happening that Big Brother hopes you don't see is breaking that news blockade, and only we can do that together. And we are breaking the blockade. But all the foreign invasion, all the disease pouring in, all the craziness, all the left denying it's happening is at Infowars.com and NewsWars.com. And we've got the big specials on all of our top-selling supplements like Turbo Force and DNA Force. So I'll tell you, I'm not as pretty as I used to be. I'm kind of a little fugly. funny looking and ugly. But whatever they're drinking and eating in the left, I don't want any part of it. Man, you go to any leftist event, they look like they've been shot with a mutation ray and beaten with an ugly stick. And then you talk to them, they all sound like Joe Biden and they have a bunch of marbles in their mouth. And I don't say that to be mean, but all the studies show conservatives live longer. Conservatives are happier. Conservatives make more money. Conservatives give more to charity. Conservatives are way less likely to steal. There's all the studies, even the liberal Atlantic, why conservatives find life more meaningful than liberals. Well, because they value what's proven. They value what works. They value what's steadfast. They value what's strong. And it doesn't mean that they're perfect. It doesn't mean that most conservatives even judge other people. But when you try to judge them and tell them who they are and tell them how to think and tell them how to behave, it is very, very saddening. I am hurt by, these are comparatively good-looking liberals. Some of the footage, though, on these tapes, I mean, these people look like they were radiated or something. I mean, they've got serious chromosomal issues, not extra or less chromosomes, more of a scrambling and a doubling. There's a lot of stuff going on here, and it's not good. But the worst part about it is how they bark the same mindless, bleeping, bleeding things. And I will do it at the bottom of the hour. I'm going to play Millie Weaver's visit to a gay pride parade. And when you hear the people, a lot of them don't think there should be a straight pride parade allowed. And see, that's really why I don't like you. It's not because you're wearing rainbows and not because you're ugly. And I just said I'm ugly too. The point is, it doesn't mean I like looking in the mirror. It's just as a group, you're falling apart. And you've got all these leftists all over, even in England, wearing shirts saying F your straight pride. So see, that's what this is that straight people are under attack. White men are under attack. All the statistics show the family's falling apart. Men are under attack, period. Fathers are under attack. Something like 70% of college graduates are women. And the idea is, oh, the world will be better when the women don't have husbands and there's not more people and our kids are raised by the state. Okay, whatever. I look at universities I go on and things don't look too good. I mean, back when I was in college, 25 years ago, 26 years ago, 27 years ago, people were a lot better looking. I don't care what color they were. Something's wrong, folks. And people don't have that light in their eyes anymore. It's scary. But when I go to a conservative or a Christian or a nationalist event, you know, I went to church a few months ago. He invited me, Jesse James, to a big mega church. It was a nice church. And I was just looking at the people, black people, brown people, white people, and I was like, these people all look good, man. I was like, you know, I'm like kind of the bottom third here. This is a good-looking crowd. I was with a couple thousand really good-looking people. Like, what is it about Jesus that people that look good are... Well, it's because the spirit, they're animated with it. You could animate one of these ugly people and they wouldn't be so ugly. It's like a woman that isn't that classically beautiful. That just scared. Please don't do that again. Loch Ness Monster. But she's got that spirit, and so she's sexier than the Barbie doll. Was just at a local T-shirt shop 6 months ago, and I bought a T-shirt that showed the space shuttle blasting off into space. And I happened to wear that on Joe Rogan's podcast, and people just talked about the shirt everywhere. All these websites got started selling the shirt because it's a NASA patch. It's copyright free. It's government. But I had it redone where it says Space Force. And we made the shuttle a little bit more high-tech looking. We put 1776 on its right wing, of course. And it's got a red, white, and blue American flag on the right shoulder with Infowars.com. We've had a few shirts that have been hits over the years that really go viral, that signify. I believe this is going to be the new shirt. Now, the 18-wheeler, printed, produced, made in America, arrives next Wednesday. But I want to do some fanfare on this shirt. I believe this is going to be the next Hillary for President shirt. But it's about a pro-human future. It's about humanity going to the stars. It's about believing in the amazing gifts that God's given us. We're not gods, we're not going to be gods, but we're made in the image of God. So we're a reflection. So we can do some amazing things. We're master builders. And the space shuttle's 1930s technology put into function in the late 1970s, retired 5 years ago. And so we've redone it. Also had people on the street love the shirt, but a few have gone, why are you wearing that gay rainbow flag? And that's when I decided a few months ago to make the shirt. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so sick of leftist groups or whoever expropriating or appropriating symbols. If you're a homosexual and you're not doing illegal stuff, I don't care what you do in your bedroom. That's the left claiming the conservatives are obsessed with what you're doing. Just leave kids alone whether you're heterosexual or homosexual. Plus, it's not a plastic rainbow. It's supposed to be the atmosphere. Anybody that knows, that's why NASA created this, low in the atmosphere is more dust and stuff, and in a spectrometer or in a telescope, it's red. And as you get higher, it's orange. That's why the sun on the horizon is red, because you're looking through hundreds of miles of atmosphere, not just a few miles of atmosphere. So clear sky is black. Below that is blue. Then it's yellow, then it's orange, then it's red. That's why out of thousands of space shuttle patches, they've got thousands. It took me days to actually find the original patch. So this is a copy of the original patch. We put Space Force on it and established 2020, American flag on the side. I designed this shirt. I'm very proud of this shirt. And maybe I'm wrong, but when I think it's a zeitgeist, it tends to be a zeitgeist. I've had other shirts, hundreds of thousands of which have been put on the street. And it's helped fund our operation as well. But this shirt has such nice fabric, it's made in America, all of it, that it cost us $10 a shirt. I did a huge order and got it down from 13 because of the printing and the quality of the shirt. And we're coming out with a women's version as well, but women can wear this as well. I'm very proud of it. People are gonna be like, what is that? What is Space Force? And so it's kind of an undercover thing, too. It's like you might get hit in the head with a bike lock or stabbed if you're a Trump supporter and you're out there doing something and you're wearing a Trump shirt, Infowars shirt. People still love those and wear them. What about a Space Force? What about loving technology and what we built and having a pro-human future in space and the American flag that triggers so many and little Infowars.com? I think this is a shirt. So pre-order. I never do pre-orders on T-shirts. We'll have it next week. It'll be shipped out by the end of the week, but get your order first. Infowarsstore.com, Infowarslife.com, or 888-253-3139. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.